Hey everyone, whichever one you want to
Yeah,
look,
you can
or
look
one
all
of us.
over, or
Okay.
you can look at Lawson. Or
Welcome back to the Smothered
But don't look at
Post-Session
me. No, I'm
podcast.
just kidding.
I'm Lawson, and joining me at the surface, once again, Seth Thompson, our director over there.
Yeah.
Or he's here, if
Yeah,
you're
boy.
just listening to this. And here in the center are two new faces and or voices. We have joining us this episode, Lexi Oliver, who is playing Erica. Lexi, say hi to the people.
Hi, people.
Hey, people. And Jacob Waeyaert, who is playing Billy.
Hi.
And we had a duo session today where we were getting a lot of their characters in. We were trying to cram a little bit.
Yes.
And you know, we go into thinking, yeah, we can probably do this. But once you start rolling and you start playing, you start getting, oh well, this is a line that's maybe 5 words and there's 10 takes.
Yeah, and we found so much new stuff, especially for Billy, only because we worked with Billy way more than we worked with you for like, at least an hour and a half to 2 hours.
Yeah.
And then, so we only got Lexi in there for a little bit. We came up with a whole bunch of new kind of stuff for Billy.
It's all about me.
It's
That's
awesome.
what
I'm
he said.
slacking. I'm really slacking.
No.
Well, I thought we could
Obviously.
get rid of Billy quicker.
Nah, you're never
I'm just
gonna get
kidding.
rid of me.
Just kidding.
Now,
Just say my name 3 times.
it just pops up.
Yeah.
Now, these two characters, I would say, when talking about all the characters in general, they're a bit smaller than others, just in terms of how many lines you say, how many words you have to say, etc. But one of the things that I would say makes you both so special is that you have a lot more room to create a backstory. You don't have as much information, so it really gives you more room to play in terms of how you talk, how you interact with people, and everything like that. And I'm very curious to ask you both, and we'll just go ahead and start with you, Lexi, since you're closest to me,
Yay.
about what it is about your character and why you feel your character is important to the story overall.
That's a really hard question. I come up with a lot of evidence, and they wouldn't have even looked farther into investigating this if I hadn't brought it up myself. So, or Erica
Thank
hadn't. I'm
you.
sorry. My character, Erica.
It's okay, you're method acting.
Yeah,
I did it.
I did it all. But I'm also pretty cool. She's cool. Erica is. We both are.
What do you like about it?
It's true, though. You are very cool.
Yeah.
I don't know about Erica. Erica's... No, I'm just kidding.
We're both cool kids.
Well, I like how, I feel like she's trying to always be like the positive person. It doesn't always work out for her, but she's always like kind of trying to be the light. And everybody's kind of crankiness. Besides he's pretty optimistic.
He's pretty unaffected.
yeah. He might be like kind of neutral. I don't know, but
Yeah. When writing it, at least, Erica is definitely supposed to be the person who, not to give too much away, but you act as a story catalyst, a pretty important story catalyst, and that's because of that demeanor that you have, where it's you try to keep things uplifting because it's really difficult. Times are hard in this setting, in this place where the characters of the story are. So that's really great to know that you are resonating with that and you're also connecting with that.
yeah.
Yeah. So, Mr. Waeyaert, what about you? What do you feel as though Billy serves in the grand scheme of things, and what is it that you like about him?
Comedic relief. I think it's the number one thing that stood out to me because the rest of it's it's not spoilers. It's pretty heavy, and I feel like this was a time for it to lighten up just a little bit. And I was like, I'm gonna lean into that with that part. And as like you said, it was like Billy's kind of neutral. Yeah, if you're talking D&D terms, he's probably pure neutral. So like,
I guess you kind of caught that.
yeah. So it's kind of as far as contributing to the story, I guess it's just kind of it creates a balance, and I really like to play a character that does that. And as you said about like creating the backstory or whatever with smaller parts, that's like the kind of like ironic thing with small parts versus large parts is that you actually have more freedom with small parts.
Right.
You can do like almost whatever you want with almost. Whatever you want.
I'd say you could do more.
Yeah. It's like you can do what, it's like, because there's not any kind of overarching story with your character that you have to tell the audience. You're just in this segment because you're adding to the rest of the story. It's not your story. It's the rest of the story. So you can do basically whatever you want as long as it adds to the overarching story of the entire
absolutely
production.
I personally always find it takes me out if I go to a theatrical production or something like that. I will be immediately taken out if I look at an ensemble or something like that and they're just not in it. Or, they're just, I am in the background, so nobody's probably really paying attention to me. It might just be me, but if they're not,
no, it's not
also
just you. Absolutely
in the
not.
environment as well.
Exactly.
It's like
And when they're up there
taken out of
really
this.
making choices and they are in the story while not being the centerpiece of the story, it makes everything so much better. I always look for that. I always look for the background
seeing
guys.
just how invested everybody is and what everybody else is doing. It just kind of helps immerse you. So for you both, which we're going to keep going on the consensus about actor backgrounds, you both have done most of your work in theater. Yes. Have either of you done any voiceover or any film work, any other avenues of acting before? Take it away, Lexi.
You went first last time.
Yeah, all right. I have done like a couple commercials, but I didn't really talk in them. So this is my first like beyond theater Speaky-Thingy. So yeah, no, it's been really interesting. I've always had an interest in voice acting and things like that. So yeah,
Nice.
no, I've really loved it.
That's great to hear. What about you, Jacob?
Well, this is my first Speaky-Thingy, as you said. I did the one project with you for college that, which was a lot of fun. And I think that was like the first time that was like something that was like really outside of theater. And I was like, this is a lot of fun. I enjoy this. Not necessarily more than theater, just differently.
Yeah, well, it's something fresh, right?
Yeah,
something different.
Yeah, and doing this, it's definitely different, and I personally love it.
What is it, do you both think, that's very liberating about it versus theater? What is it you like about it? What is it that you dislike about it when comparing it to your theatrical endeavors?
Well, you just looked at me. Well, I
do
do have an answer to that.
Okay.
Yeah, switch the stuff.
Yeah,
You
all
go
right,
first.
shut up for a second. All right. So, well, what I really liked about it was it really gives you time to work in like real time. Like the way we were, recording was like one line at a time, and it was like I'd do a line. It's like, all right, now do it this way. Like, okay, no, do it this way, and I'll do it this way, and you got to like work it one line at a time, as opposed to theater. You do a whole scene, and you maybe get like a note about it, and you're like, well, think about this.
Right.
Keep this in the back of your brain. Now we got to move on to this. And I think part of that has to do with like one-on-one directing and acting, is that you really get to work with somebody who's watching you, because like, you don't know what you're doing really. You think you might know, but it doesn't come off like how you think it's coming off.
Sure.
And you have someone in real time telling you, no, this, no, this, you know what I mean? And I find that to be what you said, liberating about it versus theater.
Got you. So there's a little bit room to get more detailed, a little bit room to craft things, but that also means that there's a little bit more room for scrutiny, which can also be an issue, because you start kind of falling down the rabbit hole of, I'm going to do this take 20 times.
Right, which it can, in that sense, it can, not that I got frustrated, but it can. I can see how it could get frustrating if you do the same line, like, 20, 30 times. Like,
absolutely.
Yeah. It's like, what do you want? I was like, I've done this so many ways.
Yeah, thankfully, we haven't gotten anywhere close to that.
We haven't gotten too much of that. We've gotten a little bit from not from you two, but there's been there's been a tiny bit. And what's interesting about what you just said is it's just as frustrating to hear the line that many times as it is for the actor to say the line that many times, and you're like, it's just not there.
Yeah, right. And you're not sure what it is. There's just something about it.
Yeah. But
so giving time to play. So Anyway, Lexi, what about you?
Well, I think the really cool part is that, like, I mean, sort of similar to what you said, like, where you can get, like, the feedback, like, right away, kind of, and, like, fix it. And also, like, I can hear myself and how I sounded and know, like, right away, like, okay, I thought I sounded excited, but, you know, I really sound angry or whatever.
Right. Yeah, isn't that weird?
Like,
What I did?
Yeah, that's what I sound like.
Whoops, my bad.
Super weird. Yeah.
Yeah, which, like, with theater and acting, you don't really that often get to see yourself, like, videotaped or whatever.
Right.
You can't, like, fix it as easily.
Yeah,
And then
like, that was real
going back, say you did a run through, you did a run through or something like that, and then say a director or somebody like that gives you that note, and then you're just thinking, did I?
Yeah, right.
But like
yeah.
that moment was gone, so you
Yeah.
can't. Whereas versus this, it's well, let's go back and listen to all of them. Let's see, know, what you did then and what we could do now if we were talking about, going back and doing a line over again and whatnot.
But that's part of what the fun is with this, especially, and Lexi was doing it a lot, where she would hear herself and be like, no.
Yeah.
And she wouldn't like her
Taking
take
those
on
liberties.
it. And that was perfect because it was like good. Because
we don't have to do our job.
Yeah, exactly. It was like they're doing and actually these two basically did the job for me tonight. It was pretty awesome. I just got to be like,
That's what's
I just got to be like, yeah, just
it to be like
keep going. Just keep going.
Just
That's
do
fine.
it again. Sure. Yeah.
It was pretty awesome.
That being said, though, at least for me personally, like I have a really hard time listening or watching myself. I've watched videos of theatrical productions and me in it, and it's like,
I know, it's brutal.
like the whole
It's
time,
painful.
like, and it doesn't matter. And someone's like, "But you were great," and I'm like, "Oh man!"
I know.
Like just
Well,
like,
that's
seeing
just-
myself.
That's
it's
just
like,
the bar, man. That's the
Yeah.
bar. It's very different. And if we continue to do future projects, which my goodness, I hope so. That'll be something that you become just more numb to. That'll be something that eventually you'll be able to just disassociate yourself with, and it won't be as difficult. For me, at least, with what I've done, I've gotten to the point, not so much with video, just because that's something that I haven't done as much of. But when it comes to listening to myself back, it's just you hear it and you say that's a different person, just because it's easier, really. Just be like, that's not me, that's this person, and I'm going to hear it as this person. Cool, very cool. So I'm very curious. This is, since you both are new faces and voices, this is something that's very important to the audience that I'm really hoping the audience will get from this, and I want you both to answer. Why should people listen to this?
You're hitting me with all the hard questions.
You were first.
I mean, I think it's a really great story to listen to. I think it's really interesting. Like, we have I feel like a wide variety of types of voices, which is neat for me. I don't know if everybody's into listening to people talk, but like, anyway, but yeah, the storyline is really good. I think it's just like a different take on things. I've never like heard a story like this before.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think it's different.
in regards of just storytelling
Just
in general,
like,
or
yeah.
more audio based storytelling?
Yeah, I mean, storytelling in general, like I haven't, like it's pretty a new story for me at least. I don't know, but like also, yeah, the way it's put on the audio and everything, and you're just being so creative about it and like
Thank you.
adding all these like cool touches, and everybody's doing like their most. So I think it'll be great.
I hope so.
that's my-
I think
that's my-
so. And I've been with this content way too long. 3 years.
What were we just saying about like listening or hearing yourself? It's the
Yeah,
same
and
thing.
that's a very different
reading
thing.
work that you wrote is like,
Yes, especially when it's going for that long. But that's the reason why I'm so thankful that we're at the point of this production, which now, somebody else can chime in and say what they think about it. And then for me, I go, that's a new perspective, and that's wonderful. Jacob, what about you?
Well, I think that this kind of project as a whole is ambitious, and it's almost, I mean, it is like a radio play. You know what I mean?
Right.
And like, that's not really a thing anymore, but it could be, especially with the way that like podcasts are coming back.
Exhibit A.
Yeah, no. If you look at the 4 people before you, podcasts are kind of coming back, or are kind of a thing, and that's almost like talk radio in a way. And so, hence, they're the like radio play sort of thing. But also on top of that, well, this is like a personal experience kind of thing. So like my job is I deliver for FedEx, and something that
FedEx.
So yeah, I drive for FedEx, because I'm essential. We're essential.
Oh, yeah.
Because you work at a dentist office.
Yeah, I'm so essential.
So what I started doing, because I got sick of like listening to the same music over and over again, because I got like headphones, is I started listening to audiobooks, and that's like really good. And I really like that because I have little attention span for reading, but I listen to audiobooks, and it really like my imagination goes to so many places.
Right.
But with as far as like something like this, it can open the imagination even more. Like you're putting voices to faces, or you're putting other way around. So you're putting faces to voices.
Right.
You know what I mean? And stuff like that. And we'll have like sound effects and stuff like that. Like it'll put your imagination more in the scene that's created as opposed to just a somebody reading a book.
Text.
As opposed to text, and your imagination is like going wild, you know what I mean? It kind of hones it in a little bit.
There are some audiobooks delivered with some stellar actors and whatnot who will do voices for certain characters, which always adds that little bit of entertainment to it that helps engage things. But yeah, isn't that insane to think about, that you at this point, where the possibilities of there being new music or music that you haven't listened to yet are endless, but for you just think, I'm a little bit musiced out. I want something different, like something that is creative, something that is fun. And podcasting seems to keep building a niche where it's you're able to connect with the people a little bit more on a different level than say music is.
Yeah, and we actually talked about this same thing on an earlier podcast, so check out that podcast as well, which I believe was number 3.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it's podcast number 3. We were talking about the same kind of vein. So what I'm saying is, all these episodes are great, so you should check them all out. But
I almost knocked the camera. This is a microphone.
That's an ear camera.
That'd be a terrifying camera.
That's an ear camera we got there.
I almost knocked this camera over.
Wait, imagine the angle on that. That'd just be horrendous.
It's just your mouth and your nose. So, last question before we wrap this up. And Seth, you can also chime in with this.
No.
What?
No, thank you.
No one wants to listen to this.
Is there anything you would compare this to? Because a lot of times when we sell somebody on something, it's like this, but with this, it's like that with the added spice of this. Is there anything, does this remind you of anything that you think a lot of people will recognize and go, okay, yeah, I'm about that? I'm going to take this as a good sign that it's that unique.
I am not trying to insult anyone here, and it sounds like an insult in my mind, but it's not an insult, but it's got a lot of kind of a Law and Order SVU feel to it. You know what I'm saying? Like, but it's not the same, but it has that vibe.
There's a reason that show runs. Is it still running?
I'm pretty sure
probably
it's still
running.
running.
As long as it does. It was like people watch it. It's not an insult. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's doing something right.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that one. I think that would be in the same vein for sure. But as far as the emotions of the characters and the way they interconnect within the story, it's more like a film than a TV show. So I'm trying to come up with a film that would, make more sense.
Yeah,
that's
so
what I mean.
It's got a little bit more of a cinematic feel to it versus Law and Order, which is very. It's a television show, but it treats itself a little bit more like a documentary at sometimes because it's about these case files. It's about this stuff. It's very much. I don't want to say by the books, but it doesn't try to take too many creative liberties with certain aspects about it that film would.
Did you, because you're like making a comparison, did you ever see that movie Inside Man with Denzel Washington?
No,
I don't know if I have.
Well, watch it.
You heard it here first.
I guess so.
And if you don't
It's
like
pretty
it,
good.
you know who to go to.
Yeah.
But like it has kind of like this feel, because there are like because the movie is these detectives getting witness, like basically interrogating witnesses, and it goes back and forth between like the interrogation room and what was happening at the time, and like you can see like. Obviously, it's more visual, so they can do more than this. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But they'll they'll be interrogating somebody, and they'll show something from the event that happened, which was a bank robbery. It's not a spoiler. It's what the whole movie is. And it's like the
Don't watch it now. I gave up the whole
it's like
thing.
the hostages.
Bank robbery.
Anyways, it'll like show them. You know what I mean? Like in I guess flashback. You know what I mean? Like during that time, I was getting vibes of that a lot. Now this is not about a bank robbery, but it was kind of like it had a similar approach about it.
Okay.
As far as a play goes, actually, a little bit of Pillowman, a little bit.
That's-
If you're
yeah. I
can
familiar
see
with
that. Yeah.
Martin McDonough at all, yeah.
It's a fantastic
Pillowman,
piece of
that,
work.
It is
yeah,
great.
it's
Yeah.
amazing.
great.
I'd love to see a film of that.
When
made.
theater starts being a thing again, if there's any group that's doing that, highly consider checking
Go
out.
see it. You heard it here first. Go see it. Pillowman.
Martin McDonough, the Pillowman.
Oh man. Well, this has been fantastic. Thank you both so much for being here for this session. This was a fantastic session, and we definitely ran a little bit later than we typically do. So,
But we got a lot done.
I sincerely appreciate
It's
you
all
all sticking around.
Yes, they busted their butts
You're
for you
welcome.
guys.
Definitely
for
did.
took a
you
lot
guys.
out of me.
So, and thank you all so much again for watching and or listening. Please feel free, as always, to follow R-Cade Productions at all the social medias. And also, if there's anything you personally are interested in asking or doing, please feel free to submit your questions on wherever you wish to follow us. And we'll try and incorporate that into the next post-session podcast.
That could be awesome.
Also-
Please do that.
If you want
Donate.
to hear more, yes. Segue. Thank you, Seth. Also, donate. Sorry, was that too soon? Indiegogo, we still have our third crowdfunding campaign that's open. At this point, as we're recording this, there's about 45 days left for it to be live. So if you really are enjoying, if you really want to support us, support what we're doing, if this is really something that interests you, please consider contributing to it or sharing it with those who you feel might be interested in it, and hopefully they will contribute to it or at least spread the word. So these wonderful people here will be properly compensated for the work that they do here. So that's Indiegogo.com, R-Cade Productions, Smothered, an R-Cade Production Campaign 3. Thank you all so much for tuning in. We'll see you on the next time. Until then, take care.